tapping into your network is really just being very, very intentional. I know it's, like I said, it's a daunting task and it's overwhelming, but everyone has another network that you can tap into. So what does this mean? It means asking your friends and family if they have anyone that can help you in what you're particularly looking for. It's attending events like this one where you can meet great individuals like everyone on the prior panels, right? And upcoming panels. It's going to meetups in your own local communities around interests for your company and your business. And there will surely be other individuals there that can help you. If they're not themselves investors, they might know other investors, or they might know other ways to gain capital, and you'll learn from them on, what was the right capital for you to build your business. Maybe venture isn't the right thing for me, and you'll learn from those individuals that you meet at those events. And I personally think the smaller curated events tend to just be much more effective. But I think also just attending conferences. I'll caveat that conferences have been a little bit large recently, especially as everyone has resurged their conference going. But I always think it's important to go to a conference with a plan and having that list. There's always a list of who will the attendees be before I go there. Have that list ready, know and do the research ahead of time and who exactly you want to make connections with, and be thoughtful about scheduling time with them before you get to that conference. Schedule time with them after the conference, because likely their calendar and your calendar will be busy while you're there. So make the effort, leverage the fact that their name, their email address, to actually try to find time with them afterwards. Not everything has to happen during that confined, 2-3 days of a conference. And I think taking that initiative to just reach out and ask and try to make that connection overall is just the most important thing. And it is uncomfortable at times for those of us that are not extroverts. It can feel very outside of your normal day-to-day, but it is so important. And once you start doing it, it becomes so much easier, because it's just, one of the many emails or many messages that you'll end up sending that day or that week. So Jillian kind of mentioned this a little bit, but before we get into after we get into the how to build your network, I think there's the biggest question to actually ask is, who are you trying to build a network with? And the first step is really, what is it that you want out of this network? Do you want investors that are going to be VCs? That will be a very, certain list, looking for a certain outcome. And Jillian shared a lot about what VCs are looking for in terms of their the types of companies that they engage with. Do you want someone that can give you grants? Do you want, an organization that can really help you support your business, such as corporates that have not only investment arms like mine, but also have a lot of support for entrepreneurs that they work with or that are their vendors. So there's a lot of different opportunities and options out there. But at the end of the day, the choice is yours in terms of how you want to grow your business and what type of network you want. I always think it's good to have connections in all of these places, because you never know when you want to pivot. You never know when you'll need a different kind of capital. So I definitely encourage you to think about what exactly it is that you want. Research the different types of investors out there, and research, what their outcomes are, what are their goals, so that going into those conversations what they're looking for and whether it matches what you're looking for. Because there's always these are individuals that will be supporting your company and your business, and so knowing what they want and if it matches what you want is so critical. You'll be working side by side for many years together. So with all that said, just a couple of I picked 5 techniques that I personally tried to build in my own network building. But hopefully these are helpful, and obviously ask questions at the end. So first is just build authentic relationships. I said this before, these are long-term relationships, particularly in venture. And you will want to make sure that you can be yourself and you are honest with what your goals are and what your achievements to reach are as well, and whether that individual can help you. The next is build relationships early. You never know when you might need a certain investor, you might need a certain grant maker or corporate support. And so building relationships with investors and letting them know, I know we're too early for you, but I would love to connect with you and learn more about what you're building. I'd love to stay in touch. I'd love to add you to my, quarterly or annual update on how the company is doing. Having those relationships, one, keeps you on their radar, so you know them ahead of time. You're constantly in their inbox and they're following along on your journey. It helps you take time to also understand what type of investor they are and what type of individual they are, because you'll build that relationship not overnight, but over several, if not months, several years. And then the last is you have those relationships at the ready to expedite your diligence process. So talk a lot about venture because that's where I come from, but anytime that you will need something or you want to ask them for something, it's ready and you've done the work to actually build that relationship, which is, we heard from Jillian, most are investing at the founder. You've built that relationship and are ready to now ask them for help in a monetary way. And then research. Every VC and every type of lender out there is public about what they invest in. They're public about the types of companies they've supported. So reach out to them. If you are building a direct to consumer product, likely going after investors that have only done enterprise software investments is probably not the best use of your time, because your time is precious. You're unlikely to change their mind. So go after the investors that match your product thesis. The next is always have an ask. So even if an investor is too early, or even if they're not the right fit for you, ask them something, ask them for help. Either, you can ask them on your pitch. You can ask them for help to connect to a different investor. You can ask them for help on connecting with a customer that might be top of mind for you. It's really just having that one ask in your back pocket so that you can really leverage that relationship that you've built is so helpful, because oftentimes, if it's not a fit, an investor will say, well, how can I be helpful? Even though, I can't grant you capital, but I can do something else. And you have that at the ready and are able to make, force them into that. And then the last is don't be afraid of the first move. I mean, it sounds like dating, but these reach outs are hard, but they're available to you. And so just find someone on LinkedIn and send that first email, even if it's a cold email, right? Not everything has to be a warm inbound. And sometimes it can be challenging if you don't have the pre-built network to have a warm inbound, right? But you can send a cold LinkedIn reach out. You can send an email reach out, et cetera. There's so many ways to build that that don't require you having that pre-existing group in place already.